Right then, history has been scripted by Australia as they become the first cricketing side to hold all trophies with regards to the ICC, that is. And what a way for India to bow out on this Sunday. We all thought this Sunday would be a super Sunday, the best ever, and all of that, but it was quickly put away to bed once those 2 wickets went in that over, and then not to forget, Rahane followed, and then the tail, of course, collapsing. Australia winning by 209 runs. My name's Avni Shaikh. We were absolutely buzzing if you guys saw last night's show. But as you can tell by the boys and their faces, it's not going to be that much energy in this show. But we'll try to do our bit. We'll take the comments, we'll take the stats. But there you have it. Australia winning by 209 runs. Like I said, a comprehensive win, and fair play to Steve Smith, Pat Cummins, and the rest of the Australians. I mean, they've just been certainly dominant on all 5 days, I should say. I have Gurkirat and Nix with me. Gurkirat, I'll start with you. I messaged you in this morning saying, bro, I'm nervous. And you were like, Kis ke liye, bro? For what? For what? We've lost it. I mean, please start and tell me about your day 5 post-mortem. How do you look at it?
So just looking at the day 5 post-mortem won't be fair, because if we are being very, very honest, this game was probably lost on day 1. It was the remaining days were trying to delay the inevitable, because at no point of time you could say that India got ahead in the game. No, it didn't happen. India were always playing catch up. And what has happened on day 5 is what would have happened, and we would have expected it to happen if Indian team was not playing. If it was if this game was being played between Australia and England, or any other 2 test sides, given how the pitch has behaved, we would have said that at max the game goes on till first hour after lunch. So day 5 post-mortem doesn't really make sense. The post-mortem, in essence, I feel has to happen of the entire WTC cycle, and then look at what you can change, and what you can change immediately, and for what you need some time, because yes, the batting has been underwhelming, for sure, without a doubt. But if you look at the big losses that have happened in this cycle, whether you talk about Edgbaston, or this test match, or Johannesburg 2022, it's the bowlers who've lost the game, because in Johannesburg you had to defend 240 odd, and on that pitch it should have happened, given how spicy that wicket was, and that chase was completed quite comfortably by South Africa at a loss of 3 wickets. Edgbaston as well, 370 odd chased inside 90 overs, or inside 80 overs, I'm not sure, but that's how that's how poor our bowlers were. And in this test match as well, only Cape Town is where I'd probably say that both the batters and bowlers deserve equal blame. But overall, a lot to think about, both in terms of batting and bowling. Batting has been underwhelming for longer, because even at home, but with bowling that hasn't been the case. So they have a little more leverage as compared to the batters. But yeah, both have been not up to their best in this WTC cycle for sure.
I mean, it's a bigger problem, the fact that the top order have not contributed, not just in this test, but it's a story at the WTC cycle, like Gurkirat said. Next, what I want to ask you is, lots of people making the most out of shot selection, especially in the second innings of Pujara, Kohli today. People have been questioning Rahane shot against Stark. Talk to me about that before we answer a lot of comments coming through, obviously, about day 1 and all of that. How did you see day 5 and this Indian batting capitulating, and perhaps the best day to bat?
And it probably actually just sums up the WTC cycle. It's a very apt conclusion of whatever we've been talking about has been a problem. That the batting has been a problem. We are not getting big enough scores. 40s are not good enough to win you games. And the short selection, all of them were unforced errors. The wickets that the top order lost, Gill, okay, whatever you want to call about the catch, Rohit Sharma, Pujara, Kohli, Rahane, they are all avoidable dismissals. And you are saying it is tested. You are bound to be tested. You are the world's best test team, then you will get tested against the best. So that's where you have to start scoring. So those unforced errors are also there. And of course, we remembered cheekily talking about Lyon taking wickets on last day, and it did happen.
Yeah, I just fell short of my prediction by 1 wicket. I said Lyon Pfeiffer took 4, but yeah, I mean, the way Lyon and Jadeja bowled on this pitch, they speak enough about how the Indian management misread the pitches, and stressing upon something what Nikhil said about 40s are not going to win you games. The last time Virat Kohli scored 100 outside Asia was Perth 2018. It's been 4.5 years of him not scoring, and it's 32 innings. 32 innings for Virat Kohli since he scored a Test 100 outside Asia. Only 750s have come in that time period. Yes, he's looked good, he's looked decent, but you can't win games by looking good. You need runs. You need runs from your top four, top five, and you need big runs. And unfortunately, in this WTC cycle, the only batter who's been able to do it consistently for India in the top order has been Rohit Sharma. And again, he's not been able to play a lot of these games. Not able to play the to South Africa. Not
Getting
able to
clear
play
to a
that.
certain extent, maybe because he had that run at Lords and then South Africa, he followed it up with 100
Yes,
each.
sorry, I had forgotten about him. But yeah, him also
Can we
you could say.
forget about a South Indian man? We've heard that before. Okay, but Gurkirat, I mean, I just want to really get the comments in because, guys, not much has happened in day five, but lots of people are bantering us. And here's one of them. Now, look, comments coming all our ways, guys, so be patient. Here's Chachant, obviously slandering Paji for no reason whatsoever, but Paji, you can comment and you can tell him why. I think even Vikram Mohanty called me out saying, Avnish, I told you that you were wrong, so on and so forth. Bro, we were breathing really scarcely yesterday with 280 required and stuff. So, okay, fine. You guys have got it right. Fair enough. Keep your comments coming through and like this particular video if you guys are absolutely heartbroken a Super Sunday because we were thinking so many things in our head, dreaming big, but Australia and Bolland in particular made that happen. Prashant Agarwal, standard comment. Dravid Bagar, World Cup. Acha. We'll talk about the coach as well. And one of the points mentioned by the comments is summed up by Vasan Narayan's comments. Lack of application, personally barring Rahane, all batsmen should be removed. That's my next question to you both. The next cycle, of course, starts in a month, I'm guessing, away to West Indies. What are you guys going to do if you were selectors? How many players in this current squad would you say, thanks for the memories, time to say goodbye?
So, see, again, there's an extreme reaction that says you get rid of all of your top four big names, which is Rohit, Virat, Pujara, and Rahane. But it doesn't work like that. Because if you do that, and if you lose in West Indies, or forget lose, if you draw a Test series in West Indies, the reactions are again going to be extreme. There is no guarantee if you drop these four batters, and you'll definitely win a Test series, because batting in West Indies with the Dukes has not been easy. I
But are
think
there
for
ready-made replacements? Are there
sorry,
ready-made? Are there ready-made replacements in the Indian team right now for the four you mentioned?
I don't think so. I anyway don't think that there are ready-made replacements possible in Test cricket because of the challenges that are on offer. Maybe if you were playing West Indies at home, I would have said okay, you could try that, but playing away is still a different ball game. You can't really expect that you'll drop all four. And to be fair, yes, Rohit has thrown his wicket away, but he's still been the outside of Pant, he's still looked the second best Indian batter in this WTC cycle. So it would be unfair to ask for Rohit to be dropped. I see only Pujara getting dropped because again, Rahane scored runs, and even though Kohli's not scored a lot of runs, the way Indian cricket works, Kohli is not going to get dropped before both Pujara and Rahane do.
But
So
does Pujara sometimes get away with it, Paji? The fact that he does go to county cricket to play more balls over there, does well domestically. He's the only one of the batters actually
no,
going
I, I,
back.
I I don't think now he'll get away. I don't think
Okay.
now he'll get away, because in this cycle as well, his first innings record has not been great, and matches are set up in first innings far more than in second innings. So I don't think Pujara gets away. I think from this 11 that played, the two players that will be out of the squad are Pujara and Umesh. I expect those changes to happen.
Next,
See, it's too radical to drop all four of your stalwarts straight away, because you need to have ready replacements as well. Right now, you have not even seen a Yashasvi or a Sarfraz even in the nets from close quarters to say that they'll definitely be ready or play. And the players that you've had been carrying, someone like an Abhimanyu Iswaran, uh, You dropped him, and you did not even have him in the reserve. So if it were up to me, I'd rather have, Abhimanyu Ishwaran also there in the squad, and yeah, have Sarfaraz in, have Yashasvi in, and then see who gets their chances, and then persist with them.
Nick, how do you see it? Do you agree or disagree? Because I think one of the other comments coming through from us in the Ryan saying, Baji, losing to West Indies won't happen. It's better we try a new squad. Are you of the similar belief, Nick, of Vasant here?
See, we discussed this yesterday that the conditions in West Indies are not what they were some time back. They are. You get quick bouncy wickets now with the Dukes. A lot is always happening. The power scores aren't in the higher range. So it is not going to be easy for anybody to come in and just immediately show that they belong. So it is going to take time, and it's where there has to be a long-term vision of what you want to do with the side. So I think the critical question there will also be, where do you want to eventually play Gill? Are you going to look at him as an opener always? Then okay, give him a run there. If not, I would actually want him to play in the middle order. You either push Kohli at 5 if you want to give Rahane a go. So you'll have to answer a lot of those questions first. That okay, do you want to bleed in Sarfaraz right now? Okay, get him Sarfaraz in the middle order. Okay, then Jaiswal is an option up to top at top. You have Iswaran to try at top. There has to be a very clear vision that okay, these are the three guys to try for the top order. These are the guys to try at number three. These are my four. These two guys are my number fours, and this is 5 6. You will have to start making a pool of players because India have been very rigid and they haven't come out of that pool at all. To
True.
even see anybody else and have any idea that okay, in ODIs you still know that okay, maybe this guy could do this, maybe this guy can adapt. Test cricket is a far different battle. So you will
No,
have to start.
yeah, absolutely. In India, blessed with the pool, like you said. Let me just throw it back to you, Nick. What about someone like KL Rahul? He's opened for India before in tests. He's not in the team right now, but surely he is inevitable to come back in. How would you puzzle that in?
Yeah, so exactly that's what I'm talking. You have to chalk out a roadmap for every player. That
Okay.
okay, how long are you going to have Rohit, Pujara, Kohli in your setup in the test cycle? So then is when you start making replacements for them. Okay, is KL Rahul going to replace Rohit? Okay, so KL and Abhimanyu Iswaran are my openers 2 years down the line. So that's how you go about chalking out roads because see the problem is when you have too many resources, you cannot take it for granted that people will come in and they'll automatically perform. You'll have to give them enough games, and test cricket hasn't been a case where batting has been easy. So it's not
Hmm.
that people will come in and they'll flourish. They will have their hard times. You'll have to see through their failures and give them enough long rope. And
Yeah.
sadly, the same has to be done even with the bowling department because, like for Virat or for others, the 40s, even Shami's beating the bat is not good enough. You have to eventually take wickets. So, Siraj has come through great, but you'll need to start having a hit to deck option. You had Prasidh Krishna, he's injured. So, who is your next in line? Who after Ravi Ashwin? If Sundar, you can't go to Sundar. So, where is the planning?
Yeah, where is the plan? It comes back to that. Comes back to the management. I think Puspam Chatterjee also getting involved in our chat, saying Gil can bat at 4, Kohli at 5. We'll have to try out a number 3 in opener with Rohit. Prashant Agarwal saying Yashasvi Jaiswal time. Vikram Mohanty saying तो क्या इन बुड्ढों के साथ जनन जनन तक का खेलते हैं, which is hilarious. And John mentioned the good point, which is my next question to Gurkirat actually. He says Bharat Arun, his bowling coach is so good. I don't know what happened with the management. The key word there is management. What happens next? It's almost life has come a full circle at the Oval for Rahul Dravid. I'm quoting our good old friend Gaurav Sethi in cricket.com. But jokes apart, though, how do you see this testing time for Indian cricket? They didn't win the Asia Cup. They didn't win the T20 World Cup. I know the ODI World Cup beckons. They've lost the World Test Championship. Everyone was saying, yeah, Rohit is a good captain. He hasn't won anything big for India. So do they look past him? Do they look past Rahul Dravid? I'm just playing devil's advocate, guys. But Gurkirat, your take?
Quite a loaded question with a with a lot to talk about. So, see, this is somewhere the expectations with Rohit as a captain uh, begin with the fact that you start equating captaincy with results straight away without looking at what are the resources on offer and how tactically good has that player been as a captain. So that is one. The resources are completely different. The setups are completely different. Uh, so those expectations I felt from the beginning were a little uh, were a little too lopsided to begin with, because those expectations were only on the basis of the IPL. And what Rohit had done with Mumbai Indians, you could actually argue that Mumbai Indians team, especially in 2019 and 2020, was probably one of the best assembled squads in the IPL ever, or
Is it
across the
also a
T20
reality
globe.
check of how captaining an international side is so much more different than franchise cricket? It's easy to say, yeah, Rohit's a world class tactician, but he's been found out here. I know it's not his whole team; it's pretty much
No, but
securely.
I won't even say that Rohit's a world class tactician. I mean, you can win games without being tactically good if you have enough quality. That bubble can burst a lot, and that bubble can there are enough time. There's enough cricket for that bubble to burst. It's not necessarily, for someone like a Ricky Ponting, that bubble has burst in the IPL, where everyone used to think during his playing days that he was a great captain because of the trophies that he had won. But no, you also have to consider what was the quality of the team that he was playing with. So yeah, I mean, uh, any changes right now, because you said that this management will stay on till the World Cup, you'd rather stick with it, because if you make any changes, if you change the management right now, then you are also setting the new one up for to fail. Basically, if they do something, then it would be miraculous, because you tell anyone that okay, you have 3 months to look forward to a team, or to make a team for the World Cup, with the likes of Bumrah injured, Pant injured, KL Rahul injured, Shreyas Iyer injured. I'm not sure that you can say that the odds of success will be in their favor. The best right now that can happen is you back the same management till the World Cup, ask for accountability, like why are certain things being tried out, and why are why are some not being tried out, what are the reasons for it. The bigger problem right now is that I feel there is no accountability in the sense of, especially with beginning with selections, beginning with what is happening at the NCA. I think that is something that needs to be answered right now. See, changing the management, it's like you change the selectors after after what happened in the World T20, right? You change the selectors, and then you ended up having the same chief selector, and right now there is no chief selector. But what happened? Nothing changed, right? The
Yeah,
same.
agreed.
So and again, it was making a scapegoat. Sacking the selectors was making a scapegoat, because I don't think that teams can be made without the consultation of the captain or the coach, or
I
else why
agree
would
with you.
or,
But I
or
I sometimes think in this whole cricket world that we live in, guys, name me a better coach right now who can take Indian cricket forward. There's not many there. You need the respect to the players because they're all egomaniacs. Let's be fair. It's it's honestly it's the nature of the beast, Nick. I mean, who is there right now? Can you name an individual in world cricket? Any coach? Even Owen Morgan, someone said that in the chat. I mean, can he come in and revolutionize Indian cricket? I don't think so. It starts really deep, and that's what scares me as an Indian cricket fan, Nick.
See, you don't actually always need a coach to start that. Ian Morgan started that as a player when he lost in the way that he did to Bangladesh in 2015. So the intent can come from anyone in part of the system. It just the intent has to be there to have a way of how you want to play. See, there was a way that Saurav Ganguly's team played. There was a way that MS Dhoni's team. You could associate patterns with them. There was a way in which Virat Kohli's team played. Every team has their ups and downs, but there was a particular way that the team wanted to play. Do we know what the way how this team wants to play? There is no such clear direction. They speak a lot about wanting to bat in T20 cricket, but the day they have to, they don't do it. So maybe the pressure actually gets to the management that we need, or maybe it's the desperateness to win a trophy. So you don't know. Firstly, the management has everybody has to come together. Okay, this is how we want to play Test cricket. And here your question also arises of, do you need to play on turners always? Is that actually helping you? Are you not confident enough that you will groom players, you will have a next Ashwin or Jadeja come through the ranks without playing on turners? So there is a lot that it's a cycle. You have to take care of everything. That okay, this is how we want to play. Will okay, next next cycle we'll have pitches like that which will keep paces in the game. The batters will get good time to bat on first couple of days, so you grow everybody. You groom skills of the spinners, you groom skills of the pacers, and you also allow the batters to get a lot of runs. So it is, and you don't need to see, sometimes a lot of it is overhyped or overrated in terms of I need this, I need this today. Eventually, it's a simple game. It just needs clear communication. What I want to do with this side, or what I want to do with Indian cricket in the next 5 years. This is how I want to go about it. This is how we'll play no matter what happens. Then you can excuse or give them any leeway that okay, they were trying this, it's visible. In this test, nothing was surprising. The 11 wasn't surprising. The way they bowled wasn't surprising. The way they got out wasn't surprising. So how are you building a brain?
That's why it pisses me off, right? Sorry, guys, but it really is very disheartening when you think about even Gurkeerat. Go back to the T20 World Cup. They didn't pick Chahal. They wanted to accommodate more batters, so they picked Akshar and Ashwin. Again, 24 hours prior to this Oval Test, can you tell me in one of the hotel rooms that these guys must be staying at, Rahul Dravid, Paras Bhambre, Rohit Sharma, and the rest of the leaders in that pack are telling me that Ashwin is not going to play? I mean, why is it just bowlers being singled out between
Okay, I'll tell you.
who's
Let me
making that
explain
call?
this. Okay, let me explain this. You know what Nikhil said? Maybe the pressure gets to gets to the management. It may not be, something which is just blind conjecture. It could actually be possible, because if you think about it, uh, say you play Ashwin and you lose, right? What is, you look at the line of criticism that comes your way. The line of criticism that comes your way is that you shifted from something that had previously worked in England, right? And the then you come under far more pressure than what happened with the previous management. Now, if you lose without playing
But the
Ashwin, or if you
criticism is minimal. It's not going to be mad like
no,
right now.
no, so
It's
what
crazy.
I'm trying to explain you is that there's a pattern. The pattern with this management is that they'd rather fail with safer options rather than failing with options that might make sense but might be a little wide or might be a little out of the box. That is something which explains why they went back to Shami for the T20 World Cup. Because say you go with a Avesh or you go with a Siraj in the World T20, but you fail, the first question would be, oh, you did not back experienced players, right? So at least now that you've taken Shami and you failed with Shami, no one can say you did not take experienced players. That is again what explains why they went back to Pujara for that one-off test, or going back to Ajinkya Rahane for this test. Again, you could argue that Shami did well in the World T20, Rahane did well, fair, okay. But I'm just trying to explain that they are so worried about that failure, or those so desperate about those trophies, that they'd rather go back to what they have seen rather than trying something new. So in this test match, what they did was they went to the bowling attack that played in that test match last time in the Oval, not considering what has been their particular form, what has been their fitness, what is the opposition that you are playing at. Because if you play with these four bowlers, right, and if you lose, at least you can say last time this worked, so that is why we stuck with it. But if you play Ashwin and Narkar, then you lose, then you have more questions to justify when you lose. So the entire management in the last 1.5 year, or it's about to be 2 years, because they came into the job after the 2021 World T20, is about trying to fail with safe players or with the safer options rather than failing with something that you wanted to try, which is what my problem is. In essence, this management hasn't done anything different than what Kohli Shastri did. Kohli Shastri got a lot of fair criticism. I don't disagree with that. Yes, they sometimes were too fickle. Yes, they sometimes worked on too much of their instinct. But come the crunch moments, they have done the same thing. You talked about Dinesh Karthik being your finisher for 5 months, but come the crunch game, you dropped him. So that's what I'm saying. You spoke about trying to develop a pool for the World Cup, backing Avesh and everything. Yes, Avesh did not do well, but there were signs that Avesh was that someone like Siraj was improving. And before going to Shami, they even went back to Umesh Yadav for T20s for one
And
T20.
that's what's really kind of like who's making these calls. So normally in football, you can clearly tell it's the manager for every club in the world. But in cricket, does it depend on certain teams? Because we see it, for example, with CSK, right? MS Dhoni probably has the edge over Fleming in that room. What about the rest? What about Team India? Is it Rohit
With the
Sharma
Indian team,
over
with
Rahul
the Indian
Dravid?
team, the Indian team, the pattern is before the game, Rohit Sharma will come and talk. After the game, after a bad result, it's Rahul Dravid coming to talk.
No,
That's
but
the pattern.
who's taking the decision? Say who
You'd
took the
never
decision
know.
of not putting Ashwin?
You'd never know because there is no
So what's your
accountability and
best
there
guess?
is no
What's your best
clarity.
guess? Do you think it's Rohit?
My best guess is it's a combination of both. I don't see at any point of time that it's one overruling the other. It's going
But
with the
Nick's
both.
okay. Nick's coming here. If it's both of them, how have they been so blind? Sorry, I'm a huge Rahul Dravid fan and I like Rohit Sharma as well. But how have they not seen that? I know it's easy to say in retrospect, in hindsight, like Gurkirat mentioned, if we lost with Ashwin as well, people would have had criticism. But he's a world
Also,
number one
one more
bowler,
thing,
best
one more
ever
thing that I
bowler.
want to add on here. One more thing I want to add on here. It's not that had Ashwin or Nadkart or anyone else would have played that the result would have been drastically different. No, uh, Test cricket is too big a game, too big a format for one player to completely influence the result. It rarely happens. But the fact is, you still try and do what makes a lot more cricketing sense than doing something that goes against it. You might have played Ashwin and you would have still lost it because maybe your batters don't deliver then, or someone like Shami, like how Nikhil mentioned, is just beating the bat and not picking wickets. That can also happen. But the fact of the matter is that the one thing where he expected this management to be stronger than the previous one was being tactically more sound. One thing I'll give them is that yes, they've had to deal with greater injuries and probably players in their prime or the core losing their form. Yes, that is something that you can give them. But at the same time, they've not helped themselves by not looking at new players when the opportunity has presented as well.
Next, take this from Pranav Anand because he goes on to say which of these knockout losses in the last 10 years actually made you feel that India lost to the lesser team. The WTC final wasn't one clearly. So, apart from that, he's laid out the options as you can see. Which one and why?
Uh, tough to pick one, but I think the most disappointing one for me was the 2017 one. I don't. It doesn't say that. I'm not saying that they are a lesser team. You can't say any team that makes it to the knockouts or the finals is a lesser team. You are there for a reason because you've done well. But the 2017 one is you hammered them in the league game, literally hammered them. But and actually it just started the process of having a meek batting performance in the knockouts. It starts from 2017, doesn't it? 2017, 2019 follows, 2021 follows,
Are we becoming
2020
South Africa? Are we becoming South Africa?
and 2022 follows. So there has been a pattern. The only problem is if you are able see the question that you asked about, Dravid, Rohit, it is something that you can't explain. Shikhar Dhawan, I'm sorry if I'm taking a wrong example, but Shikhar Dhawan bowling Brar that over in IPL. Shikhar Dhawan is not a newbie. He's played cricket for over a decade. So there are some times where captains or managements are going to try things because they feel something in that scenario, in that atmosphere. You hear Ricky Ponting in this test, and you then question Gurkirat about the Delhi Capitals stuff that they done. They feel like two different personas. So people can have their own notions, and maybe when they are in the position of strength, maybe that's when they want to try first. So it doesn't come out for them. I don't know if he'll get another chance to prove himself, but so far from whatever you've seen, maybe the perception of people is changing of coaching not also being a magic wand that suddenly things will change, but you look forward to process, and that's what is I feel it's been a letdown under Dravid, that there's a lot of talk about process, but you don't actually see a process that if for the future.
I mean, that's the thing, right? I have a huge liking for Rahul Dravid, and I don't know if Gurkirat is sympathetic towards Rahul Dravid because he's been unlucky with injuries. But I don't want to complain about injuries. I don't want to give you excuses as salty Indian fans right now. But we have to talk about Australia as well, guys. It's turning out to be an India lambasting centric show, and all you 92 people, lovely people watching, please like this particular video. If you guys have your heart broken on a Sunday, like I said, like it because cricket.com is growing. We've just hit 31.5K subscribers on YouTube, and we're strong as ever on Instagram and Twitter. And follow the boys as well, Gurkirat and Crick Crazy Nicks, for all things that you guys need to know. Right, let's talk Australia and let's talk Scotty Boland because I think if they win the Ashes later this summer, that boy will have a lot to say in that as well. Gurkida?
Yeah, if he remains accurate, he could be someone who can provide the answer to baseball, because his greatest strength is his accuracy. But would be interesting to see how he deals with it, because uh, sometimes when you straight away put under the attack, it's easy to lose your head and then probably lose your length and line. So if he remains confident enough of sticking to his strength, then maybe yeah, he could be an answer to that. And yeah, him doing well is something which wasn't surprising. When we were doing our preview, all of us had him in our first 11. I had him ahead of Stark, others had him ahead of Hazelwood, and it was for a reason. You need accurate bowlers in test cricket. Accuracy in test cricket can never go out of fashion, absolutely never go out of fashion, even on dead tracks, because even if nothing happens, you need to keep the runs down. And yeah, Scott Boland, you could say that he was probably the standout bowler for Australia in this test match.
Yeah, it never goes out of fashion. It remains sexy as ever. You've heard of the wrestler, right? Scotty Too Hotty way back. So I think Scott Boland is living off that. Is he a man of the match, guys, or is it Travis Head for that 160? Knicks,
Travis Head.
Travis
Travis Head.
Head.
Travis
But
Head.
who
Travis.
comes close if there's anyone else? I know Steve Smith took that sensational grab in
No,
that
Travis
100
Head.
for
Travis
sure.
Head. First innings runs, that too under those conditions, team under pressure, 76 odd for three. That is stuff of dreams. You dream of a knock like that in the big, and it wasn't a small 100. Proper daddy 100, who you get to 400. India needed two innings to get close to that. So, uh, and I think it's very interesting that India have given England a blueprint that this is how you bowl to Travis Head. So very keen to see how Australia combat that. And on the point of Scott Boland, I'm very keen to see how it works out, because from whatever little you saw of Scott Boland yesterday, when India were finding the boundaries, he wasn't finding it easy as well to find that spot. So it is, the intent of England is going to be massively important, and which is where I feel one guy will stand between Australia, obviously between Australia and England, and that is Joe Root. Because if Joe Root is able to hold an end up for England in every game, then they have enough stroke makers, because you see India have scored at a very good rate in this test. It's not something that you see very often. So if India, with the kind of batters that they have, if they were able to find boundaries every other over, then England are a much naturally aggressive set of batters. So they just need a couple of guys to hold an end, and then we should have proper fun.
Yeah, Australia need to find out that who's going to do better between Hazelwood or Stark, because Stark, once again, very expensive. I mean, the way he was leaking runs in this test match, I don't, against India, he anyway struggles, and India's his worst opponent, but he was just leaking runs. So, uh, yeah, I mean, England will not need a second invitation if they have an end open, or they know a bowler that can be attacked. They will then really go after that bowler, and they'll go after that bowler quite hard.
Hmm. I just want to throw some questions in, guys, to wrap up proceedings here, because it's been a good 34-minute chat. Santosh Udupa going on to ask, keeping result aside, should the upcoming WTC finals be the best of three tests? That makes for a great debate also, which will come out. Nix is nodding politely. Gurkidat, you agree?
You'd like that ideally, but I don't think there's enough time these days to have.
The best scenario would be, imagine this India Australia WTC wasn't just the one-off test, but it was a best of three, one in Newlands, one in Napier, and one in Trinidad. But logistically, the nightmares will be there to see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The only advantage is, by the time the first or the second test ends, Indian bowlers will know what lengths to bowl.
That is
no,
true.
but if you already go two down, then you shouldn't really have the third test.
Oh, true. By the way, one second. I just saw Ishan Kishan's name in the comment, and it made me think when KS Bharat got hit in the helmet. I was like, oh my God, is Ishan Kishan going to be coming on as a concussion substitute and then be the punt in disguise and win this game for us? And then I was like, could be. No chance. Not happening. Not happening at all. Guys, look,
Different
it's
format.
been really entertaining to chat with you all. Not the result that we wanted to see. Pranav Anand going on to say, I'm happy that the WTC final was a 3-test. India would have won 3-0, unlike last time. Lots of other people asking questions. We'll take a last one before we wrap proceedings. Thoughts about transition in Test cricket? I don't know if Divi Patel means for Indian cricket or generally, or how he envisages the WTC cycle to be next time around. But generally, can you just give me a quick summation, boys? Gurkirat, you 1 minute, please, and then Nick's as well, and then we'll wrap up.
It won't be easy. Has to start by probably looking past Pujara and looking past Ramesh, and then probably take it a player or a pair at a time. If you because after that there's the South Africa tour again. Would be very difficult to blood in all youngsters. I'm not sure if India are playing a home series in between, but whenever they play at home, they must look to try out as many new players as possible, and you know look at what are their strengths, and if where what position and where can they what position can they bat, and what are their strengths going forward.
Nick, you agree?
Yeah, I think you'll have to be smart enough to also take into consideration the opponents that, okay, you are playing West Indies and the next is South Africa. So try and get a tall bowler, hit the deck bowler, because that is somebody that you immediately want for this tour and also the next one. So maybe that pairing also becomes critical for you in terms of timing, that there's no point trying a tall hit the deck bowler in your home conditions. So getting conditions right, which I hope the previous management played Kuldeep after a day of rain. This one did not play Ashwin on what was supposed to be a dry deck. I hopefully whoever is the next management is able to read conditions better, at least in that sense, to begin with, because that's where games are won or lost.
Yeah, well said, Nick. And well said, Gurkirat. Look, you boys have been fantastic throughout the last 5 days with your analysis. I think Gurkirat did 4. He was a little
Yeah.
stomach bug, I think he had
Yeah.
on the first day.
It wasn't
But
a
look,
stomach bug.
oh, it was an
Wasn't a
illness. It was a
stomach
fever. Test match fever. Sorry, correction.
Yeah, that's much.
Test match fever. Guys, look, thank you so much. I think there will be a deep point with Gilly Cricket sometime later this week, I'm guessing, Gurkirat.
Yes, we should have it.
We should have it. Next, you guys can follow, of course, on his social media handles, and he'll be, of course, associated with more content on cricket.com. So subscribe, like this video, like I've said multiple times, like a broken tape recorder. And look, I mean, we woke up this morning, like I said, with optimism and hope, but it's just doom and gloom if you're an Indian fan. Congratulations, Australia. Live it up, because these are the moments we all love the game. That's all we have. Thanks for watching. Goodbye and good evening from us.